Now, I can't show you the clip because the studio would like nothing else but to copyright strike its critics. However, what I can do is to describe it to you. This is from Harley Quinn, the TV show. And it starts with these gentlemen saying, "My fellow whites." Very anti-Semitic joke. But they are saying, "My fellow whites, we owe all these luxuries to this pile of money that we have behind us. And we obtained it by using our favorite pastime, fucking with the poor." And then you have Harley Quinn stepping in, and she and the Joker murders all these people, and it's being treated as something that's not negative. It's not positive that they're killing people, because they are villains, but it's definitely not something to cry about. And then it came to me, because I realized I've noticed similar themes in other major AAA titles and other TV shows that usually came out after 2018 that had a group of very progressive writers that made sure nothing offensive gets passed. However, this is a repeating theme. It's fuck capitalism, and it's being promoted by multi-million-dollar studios. So any person with a brain would realize that it makes no sense. Why are these studios that are the epitome of capitalism managing to have such themes in, and these themes are attracting the type of people that are anti-capitalistic? It's quite bizarre, isn't it? It's the absolute state of America in recent years, where you have people that allegedly hate capitalism, but they're some of the biggest consumers ever, and they would defend these companies. Like, if you have people criticizing these shows, they would go out of their way to defend them. And when you look at most of the AAA companies, especially in the gaming sector, you realize that they overwork their workers, they underpay their staff, but because they invest a lot of money into diversity consultants and they pay their diversity officers more than their fair share, then they get a lot of love and they get a lot of support on social media. So why do they do it, though? Like, what is it with these anti-capitalist themes that we get to see quite often? And when you look into it, they're actually safe anti-capitalist themes. It's safe edgy, as you would say. The idea of having something edgy that would offend people, that would be viewed obscene, like South Park jokes, right? And safe edgy just removes the slurs. So you still have children swearing, like you have in Hazbin Hotel and many other animations and video games. They still have a potty mouth, but they just don't use slurs, because the slurs would actually offend the woke. Meanwhile, children swearing offends pretty much everyone. So that's what they're doing. And they're having the same thing with safe horny. Like, it's fine to have fan service in a video, just do not have it that offends the woke. So nothing heteronormative, like no women with big fat tits, feminine features. But instead, if you have like a drag queen, if you have something queer, then you can have men that are shirtless, men that hug each other, like that's fine. So it's the same concept applied with safe edgy, safe horny, and this is safe anti-capitalism. So basically what safe anti-capitalism is, like, you will never see them go after a banker. You will never see them go after a CEO that's colluding with the government or trying to cater to woke ideology in order to keep his company safe from criticism. Like, you will never see that in a modern video game. Like, what they're doing, though, is they will create a bad guy, a handsome Jack, a Mr. House, and the purpose is that is the evil man. Like, that is the bad guy. And if you take down the bad guy, then society heals. Because they believe that capitalism, which in their mind translates to people having their ability to choose, people having their ability to negotiate their own contracts, people having their own ability to set a price for a product and sell it without any government intervention, they believe that is unsustainable and that is oppressive. So the existence of these Dr. Houses and the Handsome Jacks and the evil boogeymans that they create is keeping society from normalizing, and the normalization is the socialism. So by taking down these people, then all of a sudden things just fit into place. Oppression just stops happening, and everyone lives happily ever after. But they never have like a nuanced take on things. And I think I can have an example of a nuanced take, which comes from a Polish game, as some of you may have heard of. It's called The Witcher. And if you play the first Witcher, you actually get to see an anti-capitalist theme placed in the game. You see, in The Witcher, you have a kingdom which is under social strife. The minorities in the kingdom are being oppressed and the minorities are trying to rise up. Now, there is a banker which is a dwarf in the game. And you have the choice, after uncovering and realizing that the dwarf is actually funding a lot of these agitational groups, you have the choice of whether you want to help him and you end up getting the minorities to rise up against the kingdom, or you can have the ability to report him to the authorities and he gets arrested and his assets are seized. Either way, it's the player choice, but that is like something that would actually constitute like a more realistic take on how agitation and propaganda works, about how a government works, about how the bankers are influencing politics. You would never, ever have that in a AAA game today. They would never treat these topics, you know? Because JP Morgan and Chase, well, they have their own LGBT parades, and they're woke, and they have pronouns, and they're the good guys. They don't foreclose on people. They don't benefit from the capitalist system. When they end up going broke because of their decision, the government bails them out. Why would people be upset about that, right? Meanwhile, if your business goes under, well, no one is there to bail you out. If during COVID you would rent your house to someone else and that person wasn't making the payments, well, you had the eviction moratorium, which means you can't kick that person out. But if you were renting your place from a bank and you had to pay mortgage and you couldn't pay it, well, the bank could foreclose on you, right? This is never being addressed. I haven't seen any AAA game or any TV show or anything coming from America actually addressing this problem. Like, all of them are woke, all of them are capitalism bad, but like, they don't actually address real issues. And the banker is never the bad guy. Instead, the bad guy is the Handsome Jack or Dr. House that they create, or sometimes the bad guy is the mindset. Yes, the mindset of the average person with no power whatsoever. And you get to see this in video games like Life is Strange, where the bad guy is just a random shop owner that for some reason likes to beat up kids, and they only do it because the kids are immigrants, and he doesn't even have the ID. He just knows. He just knows. And this is like the anti-capitalist boogeyman that they're creating, which is that the small business owner from a small town, he is the problem. He is the issue. He is the boogeyman. It's not the politicians. It's not the bankers or the wealthy CEOs of the world, the Disney CEOs. No, they're the good guys, all of them. It's just like the people that are the problem.
Gonna tell the police you kidnapped me.
Nice try. But I know who you are and what you did in Seattle. I saw it in the paper. Maybe I should call ICE to make sure you're a citizen.
You hillbilly. I'm American.
Watch it, punk.
Whatever. You're going to jail for this.
Pretty sure the local police will vouch for me over a thug like you.
Where's my brother?
Wish I knew. Little took off. I'll find him. Don't worry.
If you touch him...
You think I'd hurt a little boy? Guess you didn't have any second thoughts about leading him out into the middle of nowhere, though. That's real safe for a little kid. If he's lucky, he won't end up like his criminal big brother.
Just let me go. Please.
You're the reason we need to build that wall.